No hay policías aquí, la propia gente son sus propios policías, no hay policía.
Igual explica un poquillo eso.
No hay policías porque la propia gente de aquí tiene sus propios policías, autodefensas. Y hay autodefensas porque el gobierno en esta área ha sido rebasado, el Estado. Por eso la gente se defiende con sus propias armas.
So we just made it to Michoacan, and I'm here with my little sister Georgia. Got Stas, got Marion. What's up? Alios. He's our very generous host, and we're just driving past a giant banana plantation right now. Supposedly the owner was kidnapped last week, and we're not really sure what's up with that, but it's been a very exciting time the last couple weeks.
What I'm referring to is the recent killing of El Mencho, the head of Mexico's most powerful narco gang. In the weeks before we arrived, narcos have been burning down convenience stores and fighting with federal security forces in retaliation for his killing. By this point, things seemed like they had mostly returned to normal, and on the coast, the unrest couldn't feel further away from our own experience. Michoacan is one of Mexico's most dangerous states, and one of its best-kept secrets. The coast here has empty beaches, world-class surf, and people who will feed you like family. But for years, many of those same people have been fighting a slow-burning conflict with narco gangs and corrupt police. That self-defense movement is a big reason why the State Department issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Michoacan, putting it on par with places like Russia, Syria, and Afghanistan. So does the reality match the reputation? And if it does, why does everyone we meet who's ever been here love it so much?
So we're making it to our first beach in Michoacan, and from this point on, outsiders can't buy land. It's only for indigenous people.
Hay otra bebida también, ¿verdad?
La tecuchela, tepache, ajá.
Y tepache.
Tepache.
Ah, qué rico.
De tejuino y uno de tepache.
Cheers. Georgia, is this your favorite drink?
It's my favorite drink in Mexico. It's so good. Normally they serve it with nieve de limon
La
or
lechuguilla viene del...
like lime sorbet. It's so good.
Sale de...
While we sipped our drinks, we got to know the woman running the stall. As we talked about the recent arson attacks across Mexico, she told us how if she ran a stall like this in Jalisco, she'd have to pay what she called a tax to local narcos for protection. Otherwise, they'd trash her business.
Imposible, es imposible.
¿Y eso cabrón?
Chale.
Almost $1,000 a month just for having like a tiny place like that in Jalisco. And about how Mexico works with the narco traffic stuff, you know.
Wow, vamos a Jalisco en Colima.
Jalisco in Colima, yeah.
Do they don't do that in Michoacan?
Not in Michoacan.
Okay.
After that war.
Is that why she moved here, or did she live here all along?
Well, I think she moved here
Because she got married
with a guy from here.
with that.
Okay.
And that's the reason why she can work in this place, because if you are an outsider, they don't let you work in here.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is the little surf town of La Ticla. It's relatively unknown, except for really dedicated surfers that are willing to drive a few hours from the nearest airport. The most interesting thing about Michoacan is that the local indigenous people banded together to fight off both the narcos and the government, who were so in deep with the narcos that they couldn't be trusted to successfully administer the state.
Coastal Michoacan is one of Mexico's most isolated landscapes, a narrow corridor of beaches, mountains, and Nahua indigenous communities wedged between the federal Route 200 and the sea. Despite being relatively empty, the region has valuable forests and mining deposits, and its beaches serve as a transit point for drug shipments from South America. It's also where some of Mexico's best and least visited surf breaks are, which is why Alioth and a handful of mostly gringo surfers wash up here each season. Since 2009, local indigenous communities have been waging a battle along the highway and mining areas north of here to protect their homes from extortion and environmental destruction. And as we would find out later this week, the towns along this stretch of highway still see their fair share of conflict. But if no one told you, you'd never guess anything like this ever happened around here. In fact, it feels like probably nothing ever happens here. The town is quiet, and aside from a few loud locals, the most visible inhabitants are the borderline homeless surf bums who camp or live out of their vans here while surfing every day. Which is why we came here, to enjoy the laid-back and affordable atmosphere while getting some surf breaks all to ourselves. There are basically no hotel chains in these little surf towns because in addition to narcos, the local community has fought hard to protect the region from big developers and corporations, making this stretch of Michoacan one of the best preserved coasts in Mexico. Most of the squad sleeping in hammocks. Stas and I are nerds, so we went for the tent. Our cool little surfboard rack. Beach is right over there.
We are trying to get to the next beach with a really nice calm water to swim, and we have to go through a cave to get there. Turns out the sand level is kind of high right now, so it's more like crawling than just walking through a cave.
If you can brush aside the security concerns, Michoacan has some of the most incredible beaches I've ever seen, and they're empty. So empty that it's almost eerie. Apparently spring break. And this is Mexico.
Believe it or not.
Maybe they know something we don't. Okay, when we told our friends we're going on this trip to Michoacan, they said, you guys are crazy. We would never go there. It's too dangerous. Do you think that's true?
Para nada, no hay peligro. Es muy tranquilo la costa de Michoacán.
Is it like this all year round, or is there sometimes trouble?
Casi todo el año está muy tranquilo. Hay enfrentamientos, hay guerra, pero en la parte norte del estado, ya más al centro sí hay mucha guerra. Pero aquí en la costa es muy tranquilo.
This is Eric. We're staying with him at his campground here in Maruata. He lives here with his family just a short hop from the beach, and despite the chill vibes, it feels like something is always happening here, especially with this little menace running around. So what's your favorite part about living here?
La pesca, el surf, la playa, todo, el mar.
We haven't seen any policemen since we were in Michoacan. Do you ever feel like you need to call the police, or who do you call if there's a trouble?
No hay policías aquí, la propia gente son sus propios policías. No hay policía.
Igual explica un poquillo eso.
No hay policías porque la propia gente de aquí tiene sus propios policías, autodefensas. Y hay autodefensas porque el gobierno en esta área ha sido rebasado, el Estado. Por eso la gente se defiende con sus propias armas.
¿Cuándo pasó eso?
Hace 13 años.
So, cuando tú eres pequeño.
Sí.
Do you remember it?
Sí. Había ¿cómo se dice? Un cartel, un grupo, un cártel de la droga. Y tenía sometido a la gente. Y después la gente se enfadó y los expulsaron de aquí.
Okay.
Sí.
¿Todos los autodefensas se levantaron?
Sí, toda la gente se levantó en armas.
Do you think other places like Jalisco or Yucatan, Tabasco, like other states of Mexico, is it possible to do the same thing? Or why did Michoacan kick out the narcos and not other parts of Mexico?
No sé, tal vez sea por la cultura. Ya ves que aquí en Michoacán y Guanajuato se inició la independencia y la gente de aquí nunca se ha dejado de nadie. Ya ves, están los tarascos que nunca fueron conquistados por nadie, pues, ni por los aztecas ni por nadie. Es como que ya lo trae la gente en la cultura, pues, de que no tienen que dejarse por nadie. Y luego mucha gente se confunde, güey, dicen que no, que Michoacán, que nos dicen que somos tarascos aquí o que somos purépechas, no es cierto. Nosotros somos náhuatl, por eso hablamos el náhuatl. ¿Te digo por qué? El ejército azteca estaba queriendo conquistar a los tarascos aquí en Michoacán.
The most famous indigenous group of Michoacan are Purépechas, or Tarascans. But here on the coast, most communities are Nahuatl, the same ethnic group that made up the Aztec Empire. The English and Spanish words for tomatoes, chilies, chocolate, and a bunch of other foods are all loan words from Nahuatl, the ancestral language of the Nahuas. The Nahua language is one of the most widely spoken indigenous languages in the Americas. ¿Hablas Nahuatl?
Sí,
Sí?
sí,
How do you know Nahuatl? From your parents?
mis abuelos, por mis abuelos y mi mamá.
¿Tus hijos, hijas hablar Nahuatl?
No, muy poco.
Can they learn in school?
En la escuela lo enseñan porque es obligatorio.
¿Hablas náhuatl con su familia?
Bueno, con mi familia muy poco. Hablo náhuatl con personas que son como de mi edad o más grandes, sí hablo náhuatl. Porque las personas nuevas, los niños casi no lo entienden muy bien.
Do they want to speak náhuatl?
Muy poco, casi no les interesa mucho. No.
Does the government help with schools or is it homeschooling style?
Poquito. Sí. Sí, ahorita, bueno, antes otros como te digo, otros gobiernos pasados, la educación no era muy, pues no llegaba a todas las regiones. Ahorita ya es mejor, pues este gobierno está, en ese aspecto sí está apoyando mucho a las escuelas, muchas becas, y más que somos pueblos originarios aquí, como que hay más atención, más apoyo.
So really the main way that the government is not present is with the police, it's the security.
Hay unas cosas que sí apoya, y por ejemplo en el tema de seguridad es muy, ¿cómo se dice? Deficiente. No hay mucho apoyo.
Are there a lot of gringos coming here? Aquí?
Sí.
Yeah?
Sí. ¿Qué digo?
What?
Sí, muchos gringos, muchos amigos de Estados Unidos, España, otros países. Visiten la costa de Michoacán, buena comida, buenas olas, mucho surf, mucha paz.
Gracias, señor. That's awesome. Muy bien.
Okay, Lola, who is legit like 4 years old, just opened the coconuts for me with a machete. It's so refreshing.
It's like perfect.
It's so perfect.
It's easy for me to idolize life pretty much anywhere that I'm not, or just anywhere I only go for a short time. Even so, this town would obviously benefit from better infrastructure and access to economic opportunities. But controlling the land is what makes the locals here rich, and selling it away to some hotel conglomerate or developer would be devastating. And that's a best-case scenario compared to letting narcos have it. Once you trade away a place like this, it's unlikely you or your descendants would ever be able to live somewhere this spectacular again. The longer you spend here, the easier it is to understand. The land is everything, and losing control in exchange for some development or money is not a good option. One of the upsides of Maruata's economic isolation is that you'll never get a bad tortilla out here. Why? Because they're always homemade. We're pretty sure that those awful pre-made tortillas you get at the grocery store don't even exist out here. Most kitchens you'll find are also someone's home. What's on the menu is what's available. Want to learn how to cook it yourself? Go right ahead.
Just like this? Wow! It's so thin.
Okay, now grab the whole thing. Wait, don't grab it like that.
Like this?
You lift, yeah, but only halfway in your hand.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good.
And then I put it over here.
Sure.
Así. Like this? No, a ver. Tenía.
Yeah, like that.
You got it.
Wow, nice.
Ta-da!
Hell yeah.
That's a good sign. Alios tells me this is a sign of a really good tortilla.
Perfect tortilla. Right there.
Judging from how exciting it was for Stas to make a tortilla, I bet our chef was left wondering how we've managed to get this far in life.
Is she a natural? Or how is her technique?
Perfect.
Like a Mexican.
No way. I'm so proud of you, honey.
You act very surprised.
There's not a ton of options out here as far as types of food go, but it was universally good. We ate tacos and quesadillas almost every night and had no complaints. But if I'd known what was coming next, I would have skipped dinner.
Nice.
So there's this little carnival in town. It's unclear who you pay to go on the rides, because you can just turn them on yourself.
I won't lie, I actually did think we might die on this sketchy ride.
We're just gonna do this forever. Where's the brakes? We're waking up at the most insane campsite this morning. Really stoked. So apparently all these little camping palapas down there, every time there's a hurricane, it all gets destroyed. And they have to start over and rebuild it. And there's hurricanes every year.
One of the more unusual illicit activities that happens regularly on the coast of Michoacan is the harvesting and consumption of sea turtle eggs. The coast of Michoacan is one of the most important sea turtle nesting grounds in the world, meaning that millions of sea turtle eggs are laid on the beaches here each year. While we weren't able to witness anyone doing this, we are told by many people that it's incredibly common to dig up the sea turtle eggs and consume them raw with salt and lime.
We're going through the hole.
One of the cool things about the coast of Michoacan is that because it's indigenous land, it's owned by local people and not the government or corporations. If you're local and you want to build a home, this is how it works.
Por ejemplo, ¿tú elegías tu pedazo de tierra de Maruata o tú los elegías?
Sí, ellos elegían pedazos.
Tú decías, este pedazo me gusta.
Yo me llegabas y no estaba ocupado.
Tuyo.
Jalabas y sembrabas.
Qué chido.
4 o 5 años. Si ya no te gustaba, lo dejabas. Llegaba otro y lo agarrabas.
Ah, está chido eso. Entonces, tú elegías tu terreno. De que este terreno me gusta, aquí construyo mi casa.
Ahorita ya no,
Ya está todo lleno.
This system of communal land ownership has helped keep places like this wild and pristine. And lucky for us, some of the best swimming holes can still only be reached by boat. Apparently, the coast is so pristine that you can still find seafood just growing wild on the rocks here. But I'm still not sure if this was just a prank.
What is it?
Big rocket,
Oh shit.
and you eat it.
No. You can actually eat this?
Mm-hmm.
How do you cook it?
No, you don't cook it, you eat it raw.
No. Actually, just pop it in right now? Alright. How do I just scrape it out with my thumb?
Sure.
Got the little titan. It's kind of chewy. A little fishy. Kind of like a seafood.
Yeah.
Turn it out?
Turn him up.
Okay, turning it up. This is the little village of Picholingo. It's the last village on the coast here where it's kind of marks the border between where there's autodefense or it's narco-controlled. So everything that way is still autodefense. It's protected by the community. There's no police and there's no narcos. Everything past us, including Nexpa and Caleta, is narcos. And there's some military there, but there's basically no police either. I'm told that the reason this is the invisible border between the narco-controlled area and not is because behind me, this is the only protected bay without serious waves year-round for 300 kilometers of coastline. And so it's an essential spot for getting anything people want to get out of Michoacan onto boats. You have to be in control of this spot. It's funny though, because it's also just looks like a family picnic beach spot. Maybe all the operations happen at night or just not very frequently. I'm not really sure what the deal is. But it's an awesome spot. Can you point at it and say what it is?
Well, I don't know what it is, but it's a massive construction here in the middle of nowhere that looks pretty narco-vibey.
Wow, look at those doors.
It's important to note that in coastal Michoacan, even industries typically seen as legitimate, like tourism, mining, and logging, are often entangled with organized crime. Much of the region is controlled through indigenous communal land systems, whose communities have historically defended their territory and natural resources. In response, criminal groups and allied political or business interests have often relied on corruption, intimidation, and violence to gain influence over land and economic activity.
We're in the town of Caleta, and we are in Michoacan, but this town has no auto-defense. And there are still no police here. And the first thing you notice that is different about this town than all the other ones that we've been visiting. There's a lot of tricked out ATVs, super nice cars, and generally just a lot of money. I can't tell if it's just in my head or not, but it definitely does feel a little sketchier, a little edgier here. All the other villages were, well, smaller, but very quiet, very friendly. Everyone just kind of talking. I think part of that was probably just because they're really small towns, but there is a little slightly different energy here. I definitely don't think anything would happen to you here unless you went looking for trouble. Was the vibe in Caleta weird?
Well, you know, I feel like anywhere in Michoacan where there is no like the auto defense, it has a vibe where you don't feel as safe as you will feel with the auto defense, in my opinion. And definitely in Caleta, you can tell that the auto defense is not there, and you can see weird stuff sometimes. My name is Aliot. I'm from Mexico, born in Nayarit, but my heart is in Michoacan. I was in this place when I was a couple months old because my dad was a surfer in here, so I have been growing just looking at this beautiful place, surfing this amazing beach.
So you've been coming here for years. Has it changed in the last 10 years, 15 years?
You know, it's hard to tell. There is a little bit more people, not too bad. The beach is exactly the same. There's just more cabins around. There is more local surfers as well, which is great. We really want the surf culture in Mexico to grow and to have a lot of people from here that are killing it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my favorite thing to do in Michoacan. Oh man, it's definitely enjoying the good energy of this place. It's when you come here, it's just like the lighting of the place is different. You can see a different light on the environment. You just get this amazing vibe from the ocean and from the nature in here.
This is the little town of Nexpa, which doesn't have an auto defense, but it still has good vibes. Like Ticla, the main activity here is surfing, and there's some great nature in the hills as well. The truth is, if you don't go looking for trouble on the coast of Michoacan, you probably won't find any. As outsiders with the passport and privilege of the world's primary superpower, we're unlikely to be bothered here. The real danger here is for locals, who can't leave easily and have been forced to risk their own safety to protect their land and their families. The riskiest part for visitors is that the situation can change at any moment.
So we're leaving Maruata today. We were thinking about going yesterday, but we decided against it because we would have had to drive through Tecopan and some other cities at night, and Aliot and our friends here thought that might be a little too dangerous. The auto defense just posted on Instagram had retaken one of the towns that we'd have to drive through that day, and so we thought we should wait until it's daylight for the drive. So we just drove through Cerro de Ortega. It's the last town in Michoacan. There was a ton of civil guard and military guys there. We don't know if it's related to what just happened, but it might be, and we don't really know what happened. But we're leaving Michoacan, and we had a lot of fun.
So should you visit Michoacan? I want to say no. It's too dangerous. Sure, it might be full of the best people you'll ever meet, literally empty beaches, and in need of tourist dollars. But if you're here, then we won't get to keep it all to ourselves. But at the end of the day, it's not up to me. So here's what a local has to say.
Visiten la costa de Michoacán, buena comida, buenas olas, mucho surf, mucha paz.
Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe.